All right, Shalom Boys here. Well, I wanted to get on here right quick and discuss a matter that is very important in this time that we're living in because a lot of people see the inflation, a lot of people see the calamity, a lot of people see what's going on in this country and in this world, and they're preparing. And being a prepper, being prepared, owning land, being self sufficient is now becoming the talk of the town. And all of the people that were talking about this thing and that made move many years ago are bearing the fruit. And we were once called crazy. We were once called extremists. We were once called conspiracy theorists, but now it's all coming to pass. And more people are getting on the trend of buying land. And this is what I wanted to talk about here because, see, you've heard what's going on in Jackson, Mississippi, right? Jackson, Mississippi is a situation in this country where they have no clean water. And if you don't have good, clean drinking, reliable, self-sufficient water, you don't have land. I mean, that land is in my opinion, worthless. Because if you don't have water, you don't have anything. If you don't have access to good, clean water, and if somebody can just turn off the switch and turn your water off, or contaminate the water, or if the water being provided is contaminated like it is in Jackson, Mississippi, you have a serious problem. And see, so a lot of people are going out here, they're saying buy land, and you're seeing more and more trends of land for $199 down, and you can owner finance, and you see, but they're just trying to pump land to you, but they're not telling you anything about how to buy land, or where you should buy land, or what kind of land that you should buy. Yeah, sure, good. Rural land is good. Does it have a water source? Do you have a well? Do you have a stream? Do you have something, a creek, a pond, something that you can rely on on your own supply of water? Because see, in the situation in Jackson, Tennessee, or Jackson, Mississippi, the same situation is going on in other towns downstream. I talk to people that live in Mississippi, and they're saying that they're already getting warnings, saying, "Watch out, because this water's about to go bad here too." Nobody's talking about that. But when you talk to people with boots on the ground, you see what the situation is. So when people talk about buying land, they're not talking about the qualities and what kind of land to buy and what you should look for and what you should watch out for. They're just saying buy land, buy land, buy land, buy land, buy land. Owner finance. What they're not telling you is that the vast majority of people, they go ahead and buy this land, right? They never develop it. And you know what? Guess what? If you miss a payment, or if you walk away, you don't get nothing back from those payments. They're not telling you that, hey, if you're going to buy some land, make sure that it has a water source on it. Make sure it's accessible. Make sure, does it have a well? Is that well working? What is the water quality like? Do you have water rights? They're not telling you to ask you or advise you about any of these things that's going on. What's does it have a pasture? What's the layout? Is it flat or is it rugged? Is it surrounded by trees? Does it offer some type of privacy? Is it 1-2 hours away or 2+ hours away from any major city? What are the gun rights? Is it pasturable land? Or is it sitting on a bunch of rocks? What is the local economy like? Can you raise cattle on that land? Is it defendable? See, they're not telling you any of these things. They're just saying buy land, buy land, buy land, buy land, buy land. And I'm seeing it time and time again. Women are going out buying land and they have no idea what they're doing. Brothers going out buying land and they have absolutely no idea. They haven't done any kind of the man or the woman hasn't done any due diligence or independent research to find out any of these things. They just went out on an emotional impulse, bought land, and now they got land that is useless. Or they can't develop because they didn't know what they were getting into. Because they didn't lean on people that had wisdom and understanding and said, listen here, if you're going to buy land, this is where you should buy land. This is what you should have on it. This is what you should avoid. These are the areas that you should avoid. These are the kind of structures that are feasible. This is where you should put those structures. It's getting dark real quick. And a lot of people are out there off of greed and lust and foolishness or whatever, thinking that they're going to land on a pot of gold when they don't understand. Listen here. You getting some land. It's some hard work. You better be ready to put in some hard work. It's not some investment scheme or some gimmick. It's more than that. It's more than just, it's a lifestyle. It's a generational lifestyle that must be implemented successfully. It's getting dark. And people are into this foolishness at an all-time high. And you see people, because my heart goes out. Know what you're doing before you go ahead and just do it. This land thing is a serious thing. This situation out in Jackson, Mississippi, there's people out there that got to leave the entire town. They're not going to fix that situation. Biden giving billions of dollars to Ukraine. Or spending billions of dollars to train and hire more police officers. It's sad. But those of us that understood this thing, that received the call and that made the move, the people that are doing are surviving and thriving. And we're trying to warn you folks out there. Be careful. Know what you're doing before you're doing it. Just because I'm 45 doesn't mean that I know what the hell I'm doing with buying land. I had to sit down and sit around people who bought land, who knew how to develop land, who said, this is what you do, this is what you look for, this is what you don't look for. And I applied those principles. And I'm receiving the success of it. This is what you need to do to build your own economy. This is how you become self-sufficient. I had to listen to someone else that knew what they were doing because they did it themselves. It's sad. It really is sad. Know what you're doing before you do it. Buying land is just not some gimmick. It's a life change. It's a set-apart life. You better know what you're doing. Many people are just too religious. They're too religious in the notion that just because they did something, God is going to bless them. But look at Joseph. Look at Noah. Huh? They moved with fear in their preparations. They expected that the Most High was going to bless the labor of their hands, that was going to give them the increase, to make sure that their storehouses were full, to make sure that their cattle was healthy and thriving, making sure that their house was growing, making sure that the labor of their hands were blessed. Is this not the blessings? But you can't get it if you following foolish advice. Foolish people that don't know what the hell they're doing. More yet, people just going ahead and just doing without any kind of consultation. And I'm telling you, you can get burned a long time. I'm telling you, because many of us ain't got 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 to make a mistake. You make a mistake like that, that could be detrimental, especially in this time that we're living in. It's getting dark. Hopefully you take heed, because this is serious. Because when desperation and panic and despair fall in, you see it now clear as day. A man's morality is tied to his access to resources. And the more and more men lack the ability to get adequate resources, they're gonna settle for the dirty water. They're gonna drink the dirty water because they're desperate. And this is what desperate people do. Hopefully you and your situation and you and your family is not in this situation. You're going to see men selling their daughters. You're going to see men selling their wives. You're going to see all this foolishness because men are desperate. Get it together, because it's real out there.